One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Rituals report and paves his way. Oh, legend in the making, day by day.
It's a freaking TGIF, man. I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for being here on this beautiful Friday morning. Absolutely. Great to see everybody in the building. So check it out. We've got an interesting morning for you guys. We have a lot of recent developments that are happening actually right now as we speak. But we're going to be talking about U.S., Iran, and their nuclear deadline now, as well as Trump tariffs. We have the ruling from the Supreme Court on that, and we're going to talk about that here actually somewhat towards the end because it just came out. And then we also have the alien file release. I'm not sure if you guys are privy to it. I'm sure you guys are. But Obama came out and like on a podcast or whatever and was talking about aliens. And honestly, I think he was kind of joking. And then all of a sudden, Trump got asked about it and was like, well, he's talking about classified information. Shouldn't be doing that shit kind of thing. And now it's stirred this whole thing. And so now there's going to be these alien files being released. So, and then, of course, the Guthrie search ongoing. And as you guys know, we've been following that whole case. We've been following all these cases, actually. And so this morning, what we're going to be talking about is a little bit of Trump tariffs. We're going to open up the show about, despite the tariffs, U.S. trade deficit reaches $901 billion. Even that's despite the tariffs that we've got. And then we've got Trump directs Pentagon to release files on aliens and UFOs. What? So we have that footage for you guys as well. And then we have Trump on Iran, deal or military action in the next 10 days. That is the deadline, 10 days. Now at least we know what we're looking for here. And then 11 hours ago, this was a breaking story. Eric Dane, Grey's Anatomy, star dies at 53 years old after ALS battle. Now, I'm not really sure what ALS stands for, but I'm sure we're going to find out here very soon when we review that clip. And then 5 hours ago, as of this morning, by the way, so 5 hours ago, Trump warns Iran over nuclear program could be, quote, unfortunate for them. Well, I think we all here know that. It can definitely be unfortunate for them. Then we have only an hour ago, Trump criticizes Nancy Guthrie search and coverage, quote, report on other subjects. I'm not really sure what he was talking about in context to that quote. Talking about what Trump said there, I'm not really sure. And then we have breaking SCOTUS, which is the Supreme Court, strikes down Trump's global tariff authority.
Bruh.
That's a big L for the Trump administration, just full transparency. And of course, we actually have the full live stream of what's happening right now in the media, and we're going to be going through a little bit of it. When we're done with all those stories, we're going to skip around and get a couple of things that are happening right now. So anyways, before we go ahead and continue on, let's go ahead and do our call to actions before we get into it. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Helps out the show immensely, and it's free to do so. If you guys are on the vertical side, make sure you guys double tap that screen. And listen, subscribe. This is what we do Monday through Friday. And then, of course, we got Saturday morning for members only. It's a good time. But speaking of money, please consider becoming a member starting only at $3.99 a month. We're making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody. But check it out. This does allow us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Absolutely. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the campaign trail, man. Make sure you guys follow me over there because, listen, this is also a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. We have a Discord server for all of you legends as well. Link is in the video description down below. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, by the way, we have these platforms that you guys can donate to at any time and interject, and I get to have 100% of the proceeds, which is phenomenal. And we have the email up, so I'll read it out loud just like a super chat. So interject as you guys would like. Anyways, so good morning to all of you guys. I see all of you legends in here. We got Steve Easy as well as Warlin. We got Two Wheel Jesus as well as Naomi. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this morning. Pablo, my man. Let's see. We got Frank in here as well. And Motobomb Virginia. Shout out to my man. And Gary and KP. Good morning, guys. Thank you guys for being here. We got Prez as well as Charles Darwin from over there from down under. Yes, sir. From Australia. Great to see you. Morning, bro, and all. Thanks, Naomi. Where's Lucy Ball? Well, she's probably running around somewhere. She was running around somewhere, I should say. And then when Dad sits down right here and I start like doing my computer thing, she always gets scared because I'm a loud dude, you know. But she runs underneath the ottoman or whatever, and then she takes a nap. So you'll see her walking around later on, I'm sure of it. That's what she does. We got Brother So Loud from North Carolina. Shout out to my man. Good morning. We got Jimmy Mack as well as Al Patterson. Good morning, you guys. Good morning, gentlemen. We got Joseph as well up there in Canada. Our favorite snow Mexican. Yes, sir. Great to see you. Says stop the cap. Absolutely.
Stop the cap.
Absolutely. Good morning. We're scrolling our way down. We got Salty Badger as well as Virginia Chaos. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you guys for being here. I got you. Lou Gehrig disease. I did not know that that's what ALS meant, by the way. We got Rob's neighbor, Carrie, my man. Good morning. And thank you for the breakdown of that, Salty. I very much appreciate that. We got Miss Lotus as well over there in Florida. Good morning to you. We got Lappy as well. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this morning. We got Craig, my man Pitbull, by the way. He's on the Facebook side of things right now. But he's over there in the UK and showing love and saying, you guys hit that like button as well as you guys all have an amazing week and weekend, man. Let's see. Yes, sir, Joseph, it's going up, my man. It's going to continue rising. We got Tiffany Lance as well as Dylan Patterson. Good morning, you guys. All right, we're going to get right into this. Let's go ahead and do this. We're going to start off with the very first story here. We're doing a chronological timeline, as we always do here. This is a little bit of yesterday. We have to start from yesterday to get our context correctly here. Despite tariffs, U.S. trade deficit reaches $901 billion. So this came out last night, okay, only 13 hours ago. That means it was approximately about like 9 p.m. sometime around my time when they did this. Let's go ahead and see what they got.
All right, on to a major economic story at the heart of global trade. The U.S. recording a nearly $900 billion trade deficit last year. This coming despite sweeping tariffs on imports. We, of course, have been tracking the global supply chain so closely.
We got Uncle Fester in the building as well. Good morning to you, and happy Fuck It Friday, my man. Great to see you in the chat, bro.
In recent months, obviously, the numbers are raising questions about whether current trade policies are having their intended effect. Dan Veroni is here. He's an economic strategist and the CEO of Potomac Core. You know, if tariffs were having the intended effect, Dan, would the country have seen a trade
Hell yeah, So Loud. Be, safe out there.
surplus this past year?
Good to be with you again, Austin. So the answer is exports were up 6%, imports were up 5%. So we are seeing a minimal improvement. So when we look at strategy,
we're seeing a minimal improvement, this economic strategist, Dan, has to say.
Everybody thinks that strategy happens in a day, a week, or a minute. And the answer is the strategy is happening in the following ways. the tariffs have been utilized as negotiating leverage. That leverage has gotten access for automotive vehicles and for parts in Latin America, in Southeast Asia, and Vietnam, and even in Japan. So that's one example of it. And over time, as we move forward through this year, next year, and the year after, we'll see continued export growth. In addition
So that was for the $901 billion, by the way, was for 2025.
to that, there are companies, foreign-owned companies, that are increasing their manufacturing footprint here in the United States, whether it be automotive, whether it be technology, whether it be pharmaceutical.
Yeah, but we don't really export anything, really. We import a lot, but we really don't export a lot. We export some wine, metal shavings, paint chips, stuff like that.
And they are going to be making product here and exporting it from the United States. My sense is, on the basis of the strategy by the Trump administration and what I'm seeing over this year, looking ahead to this year and next year, that I expect those
What's up, Steve
export
Posey?
numbers
Good morning.
to continue to improve.
Does it feel like we're a long way off from having a trade surplus?
So I think that from my perspective,
We're way far. If we're at $901 billion trade deficit, to be in a surplus, we're very far. I mean, $1 trillion, damn near.
I look at some of the initial wins that I just talked about, and then the other part of it is that the imbalance with China is down 32%. So
Yeah, but Frank, who's to say that this is my first counterclockwise tobacco joint of the day? You know what I mean? What kind of assumption is that, homie? Shit.
please chalk that up as a big win. Do I think we've got a long way to go? The journey of 1,000 miles, as they say, begins with the first step. We have taken some of the basic fundamental steps, and we're going in the right direction. And the other data point I want to share with you, Austin, and it's timely for this conversation on exports. Do you know that 97% of U.S. exports come from small businesses? And do you know?
Oh, I believe that, what he just said there. 97% of exports probably come from small business. I actually believe that. Our industrial side of what we send out is, well, lackluster to say the least. We got Tiffany saying, Lee says hello. Let brother Lee know that we say, what's up, my man? Great to see you, and hopefully you're enjoying your Friday morning so
What's
far.
holding small businesses back from exporting nowadays? It's the cost of capital. If the Federal Reserve would lower interest rates, that would give them the ability to be even more competitive and to export more product overseas.
So let's talk about $900 billion deficit. Some people might be looking, and I know a lot of people watch these segments and they hear these big numbers. Let's put this into context for people.
Yeah, and they're going to try to belittle it. They're going to try to belittle it and be like, oh, that's not too bad. I mean, we do trillions and trillions of dollars of this and that and the other. Well, yeah, but $901 billion, I'm sorry, I don't care how little that is. That's a deficit. That's not good. We should be on a surplus at this point because, I mean, especially with what is going on with the tariffs leading up to now.
Make $900 billion make sense to them. In the scheme of things and in the scheme of past trade deficits and past reports you've seen, how big a number is a $900 billion trade deficit?
Make no mistake about it, it's a big number. Do I think it's as big as it could have been? Actually, it could have been a lot bigger. I think had the president and the administration not been as aggressive as they have been with negotiations, I think this number would have been far worse.
All the time, Tiffany. I still get them once in a while. But yeah, all the time, especially when I was in California. You know what I mean? All right, so we already know what's happening here. And Salty Badger actually just said the most factual thing in the world. U.S. #1 export is the U.S. dollar.
Bruh.
True. You got the W comment for the day, Salty. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on. Listen, man, we know what's going on here. We got a $901 billion trade deficit despite having these tariffs in place. Now, we have an update on these whole tariffs in the Supreme Court ruling here very soon. I'm going to get that to you guys here soon. But first, on a chronological timescale here, Trump directs Pentagon to release files on aliens and UFOs. What? So, as you guys know, Obama came out and he had a little podcast or whatever the case is. And I think he was kind of joking. He was talking about aliens and shit like that. And well, Trump got asked about it later. And Trump was like, well, they asked him, what do you think about, him doing that and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, he's talking about classified information. He shouldn't be doing that, you know? And I'm like sitting there like, what? This motherfucker is he just trying to stir the pot like fucking Trump likes to do or whatever the case is? Anyhow, so let's go ahead and bring this up and we'll discuss it here briefly. And real quick, before we do, we got Brendan Smith in the building. Shout out to you. Great to see you in the chat. Hopefully you're enjoying your fucking Friday. Definitely know that we are, bro. All right, here we go.
Something that got a lot of attention this week. Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information.
See, why did he even say that? Like, he should have been like, yeah, Obama's a fucking retard. You know what I mean? I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's fucking goofy. That would have been the best way to answer this shit. But now he's going to stir the pot on this. Maybe there's a way to get some funding to aliens or something like that. That's why maybe he's doing it. I don't know.
Evidence of non-human visitors to Earth.
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
He's not supposed to be
So
doing
aliens are
that.
real.
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a
He's sitting there fucking trolling right back, bro. So great.
he made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of
What's
people
up, Arpool? My man, good
will
morning.
believe it. Do you believe it, Peter?
Well, if the president can declassify anything that he wants to. So
Yeah, it's funny, Tiffany, because I do like them once in a while, but I don't like nonstop using them. It actually, the effects wear off on me way quicker. So believe it or not, Flower, for some reason, just does the job for me.
if
Maybe
you
I'll
want
get
to
him
make
out
an
of trouble.
announcement.
I may get him out of trouble by declassifying.
We know illegal aliens are real.
Yeah, illegal. Only illegals. What else?
All right, President Trump
That was
commenting
it.
on something that a lot of people have been discussing as of late. He said that he might do some declassifying. Well, guess what we just got into the newsroom? President Trump sending this out on social media moments ago,
Let's see.
saying, based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs,
Wow.
and unidentified flying objects, UFOs, and any and all information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America, he says.
You know, very good point there, Steve. Total distraction, by the way. And wow, super fucking interesting. All right, so troll session turned into that, you know? All right, so 12 hours ago, by the way, Trump is talking about Iran here and deal or military action in next 10 days. That is the next timeline or the timeline now. So make a deal or military action in the next 10 days. So let's go ahead and bring that up and we will discuss it real quick. Here we go.
All right, you're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. We've been tracking the situation in the Middle East closely. I was reading really some updates from the Wall Street Journal as of late. We've been talking about report after report, many news outlets giving clues and indicating that President Trump is in fact weighing an initial limited strike to force Iran into a nuclear deal. And if authorized, many news outlets are saying that the action could come within days. The Wall Street Journal saying that earlier.
What's up, 5150? Good morning.
They say that the president is still considering a range of military options.
Extra
though.
surprise?
He still prefers diplomacy. Trump says that the U.S. may make a deal with Iran, quote, probably in the next 10 days.
Yeah, Sterling will. He says declassified just means 30% redacted. Shit. True.
So, there's still some uncertainties about this. Military assets, by the way, continuing to build up in the Middle East as the U.S. opens up its options if it chooses to do something militarily against Iran and its regime. Let's bring in Cliff May. Cliff is the president and the founder of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Cliff, what we've been doing lately is we've been having the audience send in their questions about these very complex issues. After all, a lot of people have...
Real quick, before he goes to answer all this, we got Sterling Wheel coming in with the $4.20. Phenomenal number. saying good morning, kids. Well, thank you very much for making it rain in the chat, bro. And the first donation of the day. I very much appreciate that. And for the rest of you guys, you definitely need to, obey.
Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate. Maybe you need to donate some freaking money. Donate some freaking.
True.
Denied.
All right, here we go.
Questions at home, and it's our public service to get those questions answered. I want to start off here with
What's up,
Ethan
Carney?
in New
On the
Orleans.
Facebook side.
Ethan saying, what military assets does the U.S. have now in the region regarding a possible strike in Iran? I mean, Cliff, we've got quite a bit of military hardware out there, don't we?
Oh, enormous. You've got carrier groups, the Gerald Ford is the largest aircraft carrier in the world. You've got an array of different planes that can strike you. It's really massive and enormous. And it means that the president has quite a few options in terms of how he uses these assets. And my guess is that there are strike plans from which he can choose if he decides to, and if there's no deal, as it were. And anyhow, I'll stop there. I won't try to list all.
Right, and we're not gonna go ahead and have him like do a whole bunch of nonstop breakdowns. But I do see a map here, and I think it's very important because we talk about the shape shifting of the world, and military movements and power plays. That's exactly what we do. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a little bit of what I think on this thing. So let me go ahead and bring it where it's like a clear picture. There we go. Okay, so as you guys can see, we've got the Persian Gulf here, and we've got not only military personnel in the Persian Gulf, and then the outside, basically outside of Oman and guarding all of the in and outs of Iran. Now, here's the thing. All of our, aircraft carriers, not all, but two right now. We've got one here and one here, or whatever the case is. And then we also have the Roosevelt over here and the Buckle Kelly, or whatever. I can't even pronounce that fucking one. Anyways, the reason why they're doing it this way is because down here, if we do not get, from the United States perspective, if we do not get, where Saudi Arabia and gosh dang it, I'm trying to remember the name of that country. It's not the UAE. It's not. Damn it, I'm trying to remember the name. Anyways, nonetheless, if they cannot, man, it's gonna bug me if I can't remember it. I'm gonna get it here in a second. But nonetheless, if we cannot get active OKs from our military bases over there to basically engage in Iran, well, we have our European bases, and we have a carrier in the Mediterranean Sea just northwest, okay? So now this whole thing is being prepared from basically two different sides, from the south and then from the northeast or northwest. Now, our bases are up there in the European side, but then they would, fly their shit over here and land on these carriers over there in the Mediterranean Sea. So there's a lot of movement going on here.
It's been moved from the Caribbean. It was over in the Caribbean when the U.S. was stocking up over there, when the Venezuela situation was going on. Now it's on its way to the Middle East. At last check, I was reading some open source intel feeds. They said that they saw the Gerald R. Ford somewhere around Morocco, so certainly en route to the area.
Yes, and by the way, hit that like button, guys. We have over 100 people in here. Make sure if you're on the vertical side, double tap that screen as well. You guys don't have to like all this craziness that's happening around the world right now, but you guys can like it for me and what we're doing here, so thank you for that.
Cliff, the Journal says that an initial strike would be designed to pressure Tehran into an agreement, but it would fall short of a full-scale attack that could inspire a major retaliation. As things stand tonight, Thursday night, does it feel like the U.S. is poised to do something militarily, regardless of how these current negotiations play out?
Man, Steve Easy, it's got to be... dude, it's got to be almost $1 billion, if not $1 billion per day minimum. I mean, I can't imagine the amount of money. I just can't imagine it.
I think so.
And actually, I don't need this guy to ramble on anymore, actually. I broke down exactly what you guys need to know there, what's important, and that's it. We're going to move on from there, though. So yesterday, last night, there was an interesting development late, like, I don't know, it was like 10 p.m. my time. There was a breaking news story. Eric Dane from Grey's Anatomy star dies at 53 after ALS battle. So let's go ahead and bring this up, and we will discuss it here. And it's a quick, it's only a minute and 50 seconds.
All right, you're watching live
Very
now.
quick update.
I'm Austin Westfall. We're getting some sad news into the newsroom. Getting this from Variety. Eric Dane, the celebrated actor best known for his roles on Grey's Anatomy and Euphoria, and who later in life became an advocate for ALS awareness, died earlier today, Thursday. He was 53 years old. His representatives said Dane died from amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, known also as Lou Gehrig's disease, less than a year after he announced his diagnosis.
Yeah, that fucking sucks, man.
Quote, he spent his final days surrounded by dear friends, his devoted wife, and his two beautiful daughters, Billy and Georgia, who were the center of his worlds.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know who he is either. As you guys know, I've only watched like 15 movies in my entire life. And of course, I'm not going to watch no Grey's Anatomy or whatever the case is show.
Said a statement that requested privacy for his family. The statement continuing throughout his journey with ALS, Eric became a passionate advocate for awareness and research, determined to make a difference for others facing the same fight. He will be deeply missed, the statement says, and lovingly remembered always. Eric adored his fans and is forever grateful for the outpouring of love and support that he's received. It ends with that. Dane was born on November 9th, 1972. He was raised in California. His father, a Navy man, died of a gunshot wound when he was 7 after high school.
The fuck you talking about, Frank? I ain't deleting none of your comments. Don't be accusing me of that shit.
He moved to L.A. to pursue acting, landing guest roles on shows like Saved by the Bell, Married with Children, Charmed, and X-Men Last Stand. He was also on one season of the short-lived medical drama Gideon's Crossing. Fox News with this. Dane dying at the age of 53, the star.
Yeah, 53, dude. That's super fucking young, dude. Well, fuck cancer, fuck ALS, fuck all of that shit. We're going to move on, though, briefly. So 5 hours ago, this is as of this morning now. Everything going forward is as of this morning. Trump warns Iran over nuclear program could be, quote, unfortunate for them. And I do believe Trump and when he says that. They've got a 10-day deadline. And I believe today is day now. The deadline was given yesterday and now we're in today. So 9 more days or whatever.
You're watching live now. I'm Austin.
What's up, Papa Penguin? Good morning.
We've been
Drive safe.
tracking some exclusive reporting from the Wall Street Journal saying that President Trump is weighing an initial limited strike to force Iran into a nuclear deal if authorized. The action could come, they say, within days. They say the president is still considering a range of military options, but still prefers diplomacy. President Trump saying that the U.S.
Well, them holding restraint is somewhat diplomacy. Like, hey, go ahead and negotiate with us. Our shit's right outside, right here, right now. I got my boys right behind me. Negotiate some shit. And if you don't do it on a diplomatic level, then we're going to come in and fuck you up.
May make a deal with Iran within, quote, the
I
next
agree.
probably 10
Easy.
days.
Frank.
Standing by is Professor Alon Burstein. He is the host.
Got you, Pablo.
Why are you gay?
Why are you gay?
Host of the Israel-Palestine report. A lot to break down, a lot changing, a lot of developments.
Oh, shit. Before homie gets brought on here, we got Liquored Up with Poncho sending in a mega, this is a fucking whale, bro, sending in $40.20. Phenomenal number, saying, morning, Mikey. Support the left-handed tobacco. Yes, sir. We got the shit. You know what I mean? Bro, thank you very much for that $40.20, bro. That's humongous. Thank you very much, bro. You sending it out there. Thank you. That's an honor.
Just within 24 hours
So
time
thank you.
alone. What we've been doing here tonight is we've been showing questions from the people who are watching at home. And that includes David in Washington. Starting off with, do you believe there is anything that Iran's current leadership can do to stop what might be coming? What is Iran's easiest off-ramp at this point alone?
Good to see you, Austin, and thank you, David, for that opening question.
Now, this is actually a really good question. I'll reiterate it. Do you believe there's anything Iran's current leadership can do to stop what's coming? Now, sure, there is, but they would have to give up literally everything. All their enrichment facilities would have to be destroyed and proof of it being destroyed. They'd have to give up like certain parts of their ballistic missile program or something like that. And it's just like, those guys are not going to do that to that extent. They're just not. And those are Israel's demands.
There are things that Iran's leadership could do to stop what's coming, but we have to understand that within the context of what are the premises of what Iran
Fuck, man, I'm going to have to go over there. Hold on.
Can do internally. Because theoretically, Iran could just say, you know what, we are abandoning the nuclear program. End of story. They could also say we're stopping to support our proxies. They could say we're stopping to develop our ballistic missiles. So all those things are what I think the United States, Israel, some of the Gulf countries would like Iran to do. But then...
Okay, real quick before he continues there, because he does ramble there. I just, the way that he always gets on here and talks, he doesn't even like breathe. So real quick, we got Slade coming in. Slade Dodson, man, sent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 joules. Man, I very much appreciate that. Let's fucking go. Now, I wish I could see all of that from the StreamYard side. Unfortunately, I cannot. Super gay. They need to fix that shit. But Slade, thank you very much for sending out a whole bunch of jewels, bro. Thank you very much, mods, for letting me know.
We also have to understand this within the context of what Iran's leadership believes that it can get away with internally. And internally, Iran's leadership has more of a problem. They are bound to a lot of their own rhetoric, and that says you need to have us as the leaders of the revolution because this is part of God's mission to export the revolution and bring about Shiite revival. With that, that is then a problem to come and say, but because of international pressure, US threatening to bomb us, we will give up our nuclear program, we'll give up our ballistic missiles. That is the reason that we're hearing two opposing rhetorics coming out of the leadership. On the one hand, internally, they are saying we will never give up the nuclear program, and it's a peace.
That's facts, by the way.
Program, we'll never give it up. No one will limit our ballistic missiles. We're not willing to talk about that. Then in back channels, they're saying to the United States, well, under certain circumstances, we might agree to certain things in response to sanctions being lifted. So there are things that Iranian leadership...
What's up, TVT? Good morning.
...do, but I think it's less about what they could do towards the United States and more what they think they could get away with vis-a-vis their own people while still justifying all that they have done to stay in power.
So what I want to kind of talk about here
What's up,
is
SNS?
the range of options that we could see play out in the immediate future. I've seen a number of news outlets say that we could see the U.S. do something as soon as this weekend. Some outlets say in a matter of days. The phrasing is different depending on where you read. But the Wall Street Journal says that an initial strike would be designed to pressure Tehran into an agreement, but it would fall short of a full-scale attack that could inspire a major retaliation. Again, all I'm talking about right now would be a potential initial strike here. So, as things stand tonight alone, which is Thursday night, does it feel like the U.S. is poised to do something militarily, regardless of how the current round of negotiations goes?
Look, the United States has brought into the Middle East the largest amount of soldiers and the largest amount of ships and military...
Since 2003 or 2002, something like that. I think it was 2003. This is the largest military presence we've had over there in the Middle East since like 2003.
Equipment that it had since the invasion of Iraq in 2003.
Called
so
it.
Right now, the United States is certainly acting
Seymour
as
Cannabis,
though it
good
is
morning.
prepared for a massive war and is prepared to throw the entire might of the United States into Iran. I would say that it is possible that the United States might actually consider some sort of limited strike almost to justify this, because if all this is being brought in, mobilizing such an armada costs millions of dollars in fuel, in logistics, and all these armadas are around the world. They are now leaving places where they are usually stationed in South Asia, areas in the North Arctic Sea. They're all coming to Iran. They'll have to go back once this is over. So it is possible that they'll even carry out a nominal strike just to say there was.
There's our military presence again. And that is very, very strategic, the way that we are lined up here again in the south region over there, in basically in the Persian Gulf area, and then the Mediterranean Sea. This is going to be used if we get denied any type of military access to go ahead and fuck up Iran, essentially. They could say no. The neighbors there could say, no, you're not going to do that. And then we would have to turn to our military bases over in Europe, which is in the north west. And we have our carriers already there, ready to go. So, yeah, anyways.
Reason to bring all this. That's pure speculation on my part, but that could be one of the reasons that they might consider this.
Yep,
Another
we're going to be
reason is
talking about that here
now
soon.
We are in very much a stalemate. We've been in a stalemate already for some time, and it is growing with every day and with more U.S. armaments coming to the area. That stalemate is growing. On the one hand, there is no illusion that the United States has the firepower to overrun Iran's air defenses. We saw that Israel had the power to overrun Iran's air defenses during the 12-day war. Certainly the United States has that power alongside its allies.
Yeah, I didn't see that part either, by the way.
In the region, Qatar, Jordan, Syria, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, certainly it could do that. That said, the United States does not want to be engaged in a war of invading Iran, does not want to take over Iran or try to take over Iran. The United States has bad experience with that in Afghanistan and Iraq. And we're in a stalemate. On the one hand, the United States has brought in all this force. They're saying to Iran, acquiesce to what we want. Look at the amount of guns we have pointed at you. Iran is saying, we know you don't want to actually engage in a long-standing war.
Wow, very interesting. Papa Penguin actually looked it up, and he says Google says about $7 million per day to deploy a carrier group. We have 2 on station. Yes, sir. Wow, very interesting.
Or you could, you don't want to. And I think that the idea of this preemptive strike might be to sort of break the stalemate, to tell Iran, look, we are willing to take another step further. We don't want to yet. I am not certain that it would break the stalemate, because all that would actually show is, in fact, the United States does not want to engage in this. The United States right now could launch a massive attack on Iran. If it's not willing to do that, if it's still saying, the game of chicken, I'll take one more step forward, but I'm still not going to actually run in, I think it may pressure Iran, may also still leave us, though, in the same stalemate that we're in right now.
So Axios' Barak Ravid has this. You've likely seen this. It's a translated statement from Iran to the UN.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. I haven't seen this yet.
Say if we are attacked, all bases, facilities, and assets of the hostile force in the region will be considered legitimate targets within the framework of Iran's defensive response. The United States will bear full and direct responsibility for any unforeseen and uncontrollable consequences.
Okay, yeah, but that's something that I would assume that they would be in that position. I would already assume that that's exactly what they would think that they would do, but then we would end up just carpet bombing the fuck out of them. So, yeah, I mean, I see that shit coming. Anyways, we're not going to do any more of this, because anything from here sounds like it's going to probably be speculation. So let's go ahead and move on into, we have actually 2 other stories before we get into the live stream. As just 2 hours ago, Trump criticizes Nancy Guthrie's search and coverage, quote, report on other subjects. Damn. He's like, yo, you guys need to stop even just reporting on this shit. And then we're going to be talking about here after that SCOTUS, which is the Supreme Court, by the way, strikes down Trump's global tariff authority. Bruh. That is a major, major L. And a blow to the Trump administration right there. It'll probably end up going down to a lower court, and then they're going to have to fight that shit out to figure out how they're going to go forward again. And then, if necessary, I'll go back to the Supreme Court. But yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and talk about this.
And we do have that quick 45-second soundbite from
loud?
President Trump speaking on Air Force One to reporters. Let's share it with you now.
It's always on Air Force One, and it's like garbage ass fucking audio. When you're up in a plane, you just can't help but that air noise, you know?
Based on what you've been told, what do you think happened to Savannah?
It's actually one of the best. There's actually like no white noise in this one. It's actually fairly good.
Guthrie's mom, Nancy.
Boy, it's so crazy. It's so bad. I didn't like when they were talking about going after the pacemaker and you know, before they even started going after it, they're coming and reporting it. So if in fact they could do it that way, the person would say, well, I'm not going to let that happen, right? So bad things would happen if he not going to let that happen. I can't imagine why they would have done that. And just in terms of strategy, just one little piece, I don't know. But we have to start reporting on other subjects also to see what happens. It's a very sad situation.
All right, so
Damn.
we do continue to discuss.
He really did say it like that. Shit.
Oh shit! Oh
This, bringing in Chuck Marino now. He is a former Homeland Security Department advisor and former Secret Service special agent. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning to join us here, Chuck. We do appreciate it.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Well, let's start with this. Now in week 3 of the search for Nancy Guthrie, when a case goes on this long without any leads on a suspect, besides that surveillance footage that was released maybe about a week or so at this point now, what does that typically indicate to you about what next steps would be to move closer to finding an answer?
Well, most investigations come with highs and lows. And the highs are you think you find a key piece of evidence, and the lows obviously is you ultimately don't find a connection or it leads you to the wrong suspect.
What's up, Dwayne? Great to see you in the chat. Hopefully you're enjoying your morning so far. Happy Friday to everybody.
What I can tell you now is that these cases, these types of cases, the sooner they are resolved, these kidnap for ransoms, the better outcomes for both the victim and the victim's family and law enforcement in terms of identifying and apprehending those responsible for it. So the level of frustration is to be expected now in the 3rd week of this case. One thing that, of course, is very frustrating, and I think you heard President Trump talking about it, is that it does not appear that the FBI and the local sheriff are still on the same page. You've got one agency, the FBI, remaining quiet about investigative techniques, and then you've got the sheriff giving multiple interviews talking about all of that.
Right, and just to recap for some of our viewers, authorities say the DNA from a glove found near the home and inside the residence did not match anyone.
Yeah, and we already know that went to a database, and that all that means is the guy that did this has not been, arrested before and hasn't had DNA and all of that, blah, blah, blah. It just means it didn't match the database of the already existing DNA samples. So we don't need to talk about that anymore. I love how the media loves to just go ahead and circle just because they need fillers. You know what I mean? That's the greatest thing about this show is we don't do none of that fucking shit here. We do facts, and we move on. Boom. And we try to keep this shit actually at an hour, We're not doing no 8-hour live stream or whatever the case is. Respect to everybody that does do 8-hour live streams. I'm just saying, we try to get in and out with this shit. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, and the ruling about Trump's tariffs. Let's go ahead and talk about that here.
We do have this live look coming in outside of the Supreme Court. As I mentioned, we were waiting on that ruling to come down. And of course, essentially, this ruling is related to President Trump's use of an emergency law to impose tariffs on most U.S. trading partners. And at issue here is the president's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose 2 sets of tariffs, including that 10% global tariff and the higher reciprocal tariffs as they become known here. Now, the lower courts ruled previously that Trump exceeded his authority in using that act.
Nothing new yet, Prez.
As a means of quickly enacting those import fees, prompting the Supreme Court to take up the case and speed up a ruling A decision was expected by June at the absolute latest, and as we know, today is February 20th. Now, the Supreme Court justices, even those appointed by Trump himself, appeared fairly skeptical of the claim during oral arguments that the act gives a sitting president the authority to unilaterally impose tariffs. In a ruling against Trump, there were questions about what could happen here, several experts saying that
Man, we got the legend Mr. in the chat. Good morning to you and happy Friday.
more litigation is...
By the way, make sure you guys hit that like button. Very much appreciate that. Double tap the screen if you're on the vertical side. You guys don't have to like all the craziness that's happening around the world or here in our nation, but listen, you guys can like it for me and what we do here.
likely to follow, as this could next go back to the lower courts to decide the path forward. Right now, I want to pop this up on your screen here as we are getting that official ruling here. Kyle Cheney posting breaking. The Supreme Court has struck down President Trump's tariff authority, saying that his claim of emergency authority to issue sweeping tariffs to America's trading partners was unlawful. Again, a huge ruling that is just coming in here as we get the latest information. So it's important to note that the Supreme Court has ruled against President Trump. What we're going to do here is continue to follow all of the latest developments. We have experts around the clock that join us here on Live Now. So we will be bringing you some of their remarks here.
And I do have their remarks as well, but I do want to see the update here. Let's see what else they got here.
Court
We got two
rules
things.
against Trump's tariffs enacted under a federal law meant for national emergencies. Again, this is all just coming in. As I mentioned, we were awaiting that ruling potentially coming in. That would have been about 10 a.m. Eastern time, and it was the first of the rulings to come out today. It's
Nah, Sam, it's America only, motherfucker.
Bruh.
Shit, you know what I mean? America only.
not clear now at this point if there could be any other rulings that are made, but this is going to be one of the biggest cases. As Kyle Cheney there saying, breaking, the Supreme Court has struck down President Trump's tariff authority, saying his claim of emergency authority to issue sweeping tariffs to America's trading partners was unlawful. Now, if you're not too familiar with all of this and really what it means here, I want to let you know. Now, this is about President Trump's use of an emergency law.
Now, of course, we know. Now, we've got an update from these, analysts, which I am interested in what they've got to say this morning. Usually, I don't give a fuck about the analyst take, really, honestly. But I do want to see who they bring on this discussion.
The Supreme Court building at this hour as we follow all of the latest information that is coming in on this big story. The Supreme Court making it clear that the tariffs there are taxes. That is a huge loss to President Trump, who described all of this as, quote, life and death. As I mentioned, you're going to hear me get quiet a little bit
struggling
here as I'm reading
to
through
get 'em
all
on.
of the different information coming in. You saw me hold up those documents, and you could see it's not as lengthy as you might expect, but still fairly lengthy. A lot of different pages that we do have to go through here. As President,
See if they put anything on this. The Supreme Court strikes down President Trump's sweeping tariffs, appending the central plank of his economic agenda. And that's coming from the Associated Press. It came from a 6-3 court decision strikes down Trump tariffs. Wow, 6-3. Very interesting. Now, let me go ahead and see. The stocks are going to be going crazy this morning, guaranteed, because that's what they're showing right now. They're showing if it's going up or down. All right, let's see what Governor Pritzker has to say. Jesus Christ, what a fucking irrelevant... Why did they...
also have this reaction coming in. No question, there's going to be a lot of reaction that pops up here
Of course
in the
there
coming
is.
minutes and hours. But Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker saying Donald Trump implemented the largest tax hike in decades on working families, and the Supreme Court just found it illegal. Tariffs aren't paid for by the other country. They're paid by you. Relief is finally coming, and it's no thanks to this president. Again, we expect we're going to get all kinds of information as well as different...
Yeah, that's a crazy ruling, actually.
Action that comes in from all over. But important to note here, the Supreme Court has struck down the Trump tariffs that have been discussed a lot. They are far-reaching global tariffs, handing him a significant loss on an issue crucial to his economic agenda. Right now, I do want to bring in a great friend of the show. We do have Casey Myers over at Virginia Tech joining us here to discuss really what all of this means and the political implications. Casey, thank you so much, as always, for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And first off, the big question that a lot of people are going to be asking here is, what does this ruling really mean? But also, what does it mean for Trump and his political future?
Well, I think that this is very much a question around what is the next few years of the Trump administration going to look like, economically speaking. So Trump brought in these tariffs as really a key marquee kind of approach to.
Oh, shit. Real quick, before he continues on, I fucked up. I was paying too much attention to this story, and I didn't check my phone. We got Alfred Patterson coming in with the $5 saying, money me, money now. Yes, sir, absolutely. We got to get the money part over, and we haven't done it yet.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money, money me, money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Well, it's true, though, you know, but...
Denied.
Still love you guys. Still love you. I ain't got no tariff on you guys. Come on. You guys hit the like button. Shit, you know? Double tap that screen if you're on the vertical.
The economics of this country, particularly around trade, and he was arguing that under his emergency powers, he was able to do this, and of course that was challenged legally in the courts. The outcome of this case, people had speculated whether or not the Supreme Court would uphold these tariffs, really looking at kind of the Q&A during oral argument and coming out with thinking that they could have potentially be struck down. So I'd imagine that this is really going to be a shift, I think, in Trump's economic policy, and certainly the administration would view this as a setback to their agenda.
Big time. And Sterling Will dropping it like it's fucking hot, bro. He sends in 5 gifted memberships. That's huge as well, bro. I can't thank you enough for that, because listen, I love membership drops because it not only helps me, but it helps 5 others in the fucking community, bro. So I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for that.
What do you think that reaction is going to be like from President Trump? I have to imagine he's watching this and he is not too happy, considering he described it essentially as life or death.
We'll do it after
this. So this,
one.
as I mentioned, is a big part of his agenda in his second term, and I imagine we were going to hear a lot about this from the White House, and certainly going to be hearing a lot about this next week in the
What's up, Tommy? Good morning.
State of the Union. And so one of the things that we are kind of watching here is not just the politics of it, but maybe the also kind of the Democratic reaction and how they are viewing this as a political win and something that they can run on. Interestingly, you know, within the last few election cycles, affordability and economics has become such a huge part of the national dialogue going on in the United States, particularly around prices. And those who were opponent of the tariffs were saying this was in fact harming the ability of the American consumers' purchase power. Again, Trump said that this was about accountability and trade imbalance. And so this was certainly a major political issue and a major economic issue for both political parties.
One thing that's interesting.
All right, so I really don't need him to go continue on a lengthy thing here. Let's go and see if there's any other updates or reactions. There is a couple here, so let's go ahead and see what we've got
from him in the coming moments. Phil Stewart posting this, saying U.S. Supreme Court rules against Trump's global tariffs enacted under a federal law meant for national emergencies.
That's something we already knew. And Agrillipus up in the building. Shout out to my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your Fuck It Friday as well.
You can tell we are tossing out the brakes at this hour as we try to piece everything together. Want to make sure that we bring you all of the developments as soon as we get them. Now, Brett Kavanaugh actually saying tariff refunds would likely be a mess. And that is one of the questions that we have for our experts here, which is what we can expect as far as where this goes, if there are going to have to be tariff refunds or if this starts from now. We also have a reaction pouring in as New York Attorney General Letitia James says the United States Supreme Court has ruled in our favor and declared that the president's sweeping tariffs are illegal. This is a major victory for our families and businesses in New York and across our nation. We will never stop fighting to protect people and the rule of law. And if you are just joining us, as I mentioned, we're going to get all kinds of reaction coming in, and we are checking with President Trump and his Truth Social. I'm popping it up and refreshing it here to see what kind of reaction we're going to get. Now, important to note, his last post was about 2 hours ago. As he said, the Democrat shutdown cost the USA at least 2 points in GDP. That's why they are doing it in mini form again. No shutdowns, also lower interest rates, quote unquote, too late Powell is the worst. Again, that is the last post that we saw from President Trump on his Truth Social.
Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom here, California's governor, posting even Donald Trump's Supreme Court agrees his tax on the American people is illegal. A huge win for families and small businesses across the country who have been suffering under this man's ego. As you probably noticed, a lot of the reaction that's coming in so far is actually from the Democrat side. We're going to keep you updated and bring you reaction from both sides.
Of course. All right, let's see what the stocks are doing. Shit. And Rand Paul, in defense of our republic, the Supreme Court struck down using emergency powers to enact taxes. This ruling will also prevent a future president, such as AOC, from using emergency powers to enact socialism. That's an interesting take. All right, so let's go ahead and see if there's anything from this live stream that we need to gather real quick, because there is a lot of shit going on this morning. So that's why I'm kind of doing this weird transition with this live stream here. A lot going on. All happening.
Right, so we do continue to discuss this, bringing in Chuck.
We already know that. We need to be able to scroll through a couple of these things because there was a lot of shit going on. We already saw Trump discuss the whole UFO thing here. Washington Examiner. The Supreme Court handed President Donald Trump a major loss on Friday, striking down his sweeping Liberation Day tariffs as unlawfully implemented. I wonder what Trump's going to have to say about this whole thing and what his reaction is going to be. Scrolling through, give me a second here, guys. I'm just seeing if oh, here it is. There's his response. That's what I was looking for.
Outside right here. But again, we could see that change. We are, of course, keeping an eye on all of this. Now, what I want to do is pop this up on your screen because the reaction that we are getting from President Trump is simply, quote, a disgrace. That is what he's calling this ruling by the Supreme Court, a 6-3 ruling against his tariffs that, of course, were announced beginning back in April of last year. Now, that quote coming from the Associated Press, but I have to imagine that we are going to get more of a reaction coming from the president here in the coming hours or so. We know that he is meeting with different governors from all over the country right now inside of the White House. It appears that's still going on. Right there, you can see the reporters are setting up the microphones. They are hoping that reaction is going to come in from Trump officials and they'll make some comments outside of the White House. That has not happened.
Legally. And there's nothing. We're caught up in current time right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we did it perfectly. We're just under an hour. We're at 57 minutes. Let's fucking go. You know what I haven't done, though, is I haven't set us up to do a raid. Let me see if there's anybody live real quick, and we'll see if we can redirect you guys over there. But while I do this, check this out. You know, you guys got to embrace your fuck-ups. You know
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Embrace thy process. All right, so we are going to be sending you guys over to Black Dragon. He is live right now. Make sure you guys let him know that we're coming through with the Mike Ball raid. Listen, we're not going to be back tomorrow morning for the World's Madness. Tomorrow morning is members only, so make sure you guys join up. Sterling Will was kind enough to go ahead and donate a fuck ton of them to you guys this week, and I'm very honored and blessed by your donations and your guys' contributions, hitting that like button. All of these things go an extremely far way for us, man. So thank you all and your engagement. Listen, we're going to have a good-ass time for members only, so make sure you guys tune in 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern. And listen, much love, honor, respect, everybody. God bless everyone, and enjoy your weekend, and be safe out there.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning.